That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about The Girl on the Third Floor, which was released on Blu-ray, courtesy of Dark Sky Films on January 7th, 2020. The film premiered at the 2019 South by Southwest Film Festival. It is the directorial debut of Travis Stevens, a noted horror producer.
Do you know any of the other things he's produced?
A Horrible Way to Die, Starry Eyes, which Starry Eyes is actually quite good, which I know it's on Netflix streaming now. We are all still here, which Barbara Crampton's in. I enjoyed, and you've seen Jodorowsky's Dune, which is a documentary.
Oh, he produced that?
Yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. This film surprised me.
It did to, yeah, I was surprised as well because
I only agreed to watch it because I had something else to do, so I thought, oh, this is something I won't have to pay much attention to, but it caught my attention. Like, I found myself really getting into it. So it stars a WWE fighter, wrestler?
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? I don't know much about these things.
A mixed martial arts fighter, I think is the terminology. His stage name is Phil Brooks, but his fighter name is CM Punk. So I'm not familiar with that world at all. So he was completely brand new to me.
Yeah. So he is, he's a pretty, like, I'm assuming he doesn't have a lot of, like, feature film experience. And it shows a little bit, but I thought he was quite good, like, on screen.
Yeah,
he's very watchable.
He's the lead.
He's the lead, obviously.
I mean, while we were watching, you were comparing him to, like, a mix of Jim Carrey and John Hamm, Bruce Campbell, I think.
Yeah.
Too. He's very much like that on screen.
Yeah, I liked him on screen. But I think the thing that surprised me the most was the story has a lot, the story's pretty original. Well, like, in the sense that for what I expected it to be, and that genre of, like...
I will say, I think the first half is really good, and then once you kind of, all the, the clues are in place, it's like, oh, I know how this is...
Sure, but there were a lot of features in it that were, I think, pretty good.
Mm-hmm, yeah. There were a lot of creepy, there's some decent body horror. Yeah, it's... So
he plays a married man who we've come to find out pretty early on has, like, a past, like perhaps a criminal past. But he's, like, renovating a house, and we know that...
an Illinois suburb.
Okay. Right. And we know that he's married to a woman who's successful and pregnant. Mm-hmm. So he has left her behind to renovate this home. And very quickly, a beautiful young woman appears and tempts him. Her name's Sarah.
Yep, and played by, it's the debut of an actress named Sarah Brooks.
Who I thought was good.
She's good.
She's beautiful. I thought her acting was fine.
She's beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
She reminded me, like, face-wise, do you remember The Assignment, the Walter Hill movie? She reminded me a little bit of Caitlin Gerard.
Okay, no, I don't.
The nurse in that.
Okay,
anyway.
So, oh, yes, I do remember that.
But this Brooks woman is a much better actress.
Anyway, she comes along, tempts him, and he sleeps with her right away.
Yeah, like, immediately.
But it didn't seem as in, like, it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like in a good way. Because I'm like, oh, this is trouble.
She's just lurking outside his house, and he's like, what are you doing? She's like, I just like to hang out here because the house is empty. Like,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, also an early warning is, what's his name? The main guy?
Don is the character.
Don goes to a local bar, and the bartender asks him if he tells the bartender he just bought this house on whatever road, and the bartender asks, are you gay? And he says...
No, I think he says, are you a queer?
Are you a queer? Yeah. Okay. And he says no, and...
He's very bothered by it.
He's bothered by it, and then there's, like, some awkwardness, and the bartender says, oh, well, that house...
Straight men have a hard time.
Straight men have a hard time in that house. So, it sets it up for some bullshit, and then this woman comes along, she seduces him, he sleeps with her, and then she comes back, and then trouble ensues. Like, because initially I thought, oh, she's going to be, like, Fatal Attraction type.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But then that setup, and then the things that are starting to happen in the house, like, there's shit oozing out of the sockets.
Some of which look like bodily fluids.
That was like, the house is like a great big vagina.
Yeah, like bodily secretions. Yeah. There's like some black tar. There's sort of the use of like these marbles to indicate that like this unknown presence is there, and which I thought was pretty creepy. Then Don's friend, this brown man played by
Travis Delgado,
who I actually thought was also real,
he was pretty good too.
He shows up to assist him, and then this Sarah character shows up, and then that creates some awkwardness.
But then it's after that where it becomes clear where it's headed because she murders him. But
right,
yeah.
And then it quickly sort of turns into like the wife. Oh, also the neighbor who is like a pastor or like a religious figure. She is kind of giving subtle warnings about the house, and
but won't enter the house.
But won't enter the house.
She'll drink bourbon on the porch, but won't go.
Yeah, which so there's some like the brown guy being killed. I mean, those effects, like those practical effects, I'm assuming is what they were. Looked pretty good. They're pretty gruesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenes that are pretty gruesome and or uncomfortable playing with social context. Like this woman that now she starts coming over all the time. And it's like, dude, why'd you do that?
Yeah, like, why'd you sleep with her? There's a scene where like he has a dream that he's having sex with her, mixed with his wife, and then he falls asleep, and then the wife shows up unannounced and wakes him up.
Yes.
I thought that was tense.
But it becomes something, a template that's ultimately familiar, a bit like The Shining.
So the girl on the third floor is referring to apparently this home.
It used to be a bordello.
Bad things were happening.
And there's some clunky transitions with how the exposition laid there with how we find that out. I think that there's some things that could have been a little more graceful, but we of course have to find that out, and that a body disappeared in the house, so this prostitute was in the walls, which is very Edgar Allan Poe. But
and also the actual girl in the walls is like has a disfigured face, which I thought also looked really good. It obviously doesn't end well for anyone, except the wife is able to sort of figure out what's happening, and then she is able to move on, and that's kind of the end. But so spoiled that. But yeah, this movie surprised me. It was not half bad.
Yeah, it's not.
The acting wasn't good. I would watch another film with what's his name? Travis Stevens, the main guy.
That's the director.
Oh,
Phil Brooks.
Phil Brooks.
He's in the remake of Cronenberg's Rabid, which the Saskia sisters remade last year as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Rabid starred Marilyn Chambers, the porn star.
Oh,
in the 70s.
All right.
We have that.
Okay.
And also of note, there's 3 different original composers, but one of them is Steve Albini, who had the 80s band Big Black, because there's a lot of like hard rock that's used in the soundtrack that the Brooks character listens to. But also Steve Albini did a song, was on the soundtrack for Hustler White, the Bruce LaBruce film.
All right. Well, what would you give this film?
I'm feeling good. A 3 out of 5, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, there's some really good touches to it. I don't know.
I agree. I would give it 2.5 out of 5. Okay. But I think it's worth a watch. And I would watch other things from the star and the director.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Bye.